Did you know that you don't need 100K, 1,000, or even 500 subscribers to start having clients right now? Well, in this video, I'm going to share with you what exactly you do need so that you can start having clients right now, even if you have a small following. Now, one of the greatest misconceptions that a lot of coaches have when creating content is believing that more followers equal more clients. And I understand that logic because if you have more people who are somewhat invested enough to subscribe to you, that increases your chances of having more clients, right? That's what a lot of coaches believe. But here's the problem, that's not exactly true. Because if your content, if the messaging within your content is broad and vague and even watered down, a lot of people could be somewhat invested, but not willing to become clients due to the fact that they like what you said. They like how you showed up. And they agree with what you said. So they're invested enough to subscribe, but that doesn't mean that they're invested enough to become clients. That doesn't mean that they're invested enough to trust that you can help them with whatever problem that they have. In fact, because your messaging is so broad and watered down and vague, they might not even know what problem you do solve. When I first started creating content back on my original channel, a lot of my content was broad and vague. I was speaking on a variety of topics like overcoming fear, depression, the law of attraction, why happiness is a terrible agenda to chase. And sometimes some of my content would go viral. I would gain a lot of followers from that content, but it didn't translate into clients because my messaging was all over the place. So a lot of people were attracted to what I said. They liked the fact that I was convicted in what I said, but they wasn't invested truly in me because they didn't know what problem that I solved. They didn't know who specifically I helped. And it became a problem of seeing a little bit of results, but not the results that I wanted, right? So I had to make a change. Now, one of the reasons why a lot of coaches chase having more followers is because it's this instant visible credibility. A lot of coaches who chase having more followers right now look at it like this. It's like having that shiny Lamborghini or Ferrari that creates this certain level of status, right? It gives you bragging rights. But if it ain't paying the bills, it ain't much to brag about. I like the fact that I was having content that was sometimes going viral and having traction of interaction, and I was gaining a couple of followers here and there. But you want to know what? It didn't make my bank account jump having all these followers. So I needed to understand this. In order for me to start having clients, I needed to have clarity in my messaging. That is what leads to having clients, even if your following is small right now. People need to understand who you help, how you help them, how you relieve them of the pain that they're experiencing, and how you help them get to the outcome that they desire. When I started creating content, it was to develop myself as a motivational speaker. And I had all this broad content because I felt like I could help everyone. All these topics as far as depression, fear, failure, and all that stuff. I should have been more specific. I should have had an ideal person in mind and cater content for them specifically. That's what I should have did when I first started out. Because not only did I have stagnant growth, I confused the algorithm and it didn't know who to send my videos out to. So with all these broad topics, it was sending it out to any and everyone. And so the people who would watch, they would click off instantly because they didn't feel like the video was for them. Or those who did watch and probably liked a little bit of what I said, they subscribed. And that was probably the only video or a piece of a video that they had watched from me. When I began to get clear in my messaging and I niched down on my topics and I had a better understanding of the specific person who I could help, people started reaching out to me, asking me how I can help them with their specific problem. They began to trust me that I could help them with their problems because I spoke in a way that they understood that I understood them, that I had been down the road that they were traveling on right now. Every time that you speak and you're showing up on camera, you need to have a specific person in mind that you're helping. You need to understand them deeply, because when you understand them deeply, that creates that feeling inside them that, oh my goodness, every time I watch this person, it's like they're in my brain thinking my thoughts. They know exactly what I'm going through. You know what? I think that they can help me with this problem that I'm having. When someone feels like you get them, you're going to become their go-to person for when they have struggles with their overall problems and even their associated problems. Every time you show up and put up content, they're going to trust that it's going to help them get to where they want to be, because you've established that bond, and it's going to be harder for them to go to anyone else because they haven't quite established that bond with that other person. That's why it's important for you to get more clear in your messaging and have a true understanding of who you help. For example, once I began to cater my message for a specific individual, I attracted those clients, and they started asking me questions on not only their overall problem, how to overcome their overall problem, but also how to overcome associated problems that include how to be more clear on camera, how to not be so afraid and shy on camera, how to speak more natural on camera. So clarity in your messaging is important. That's the type of revelation that your content needs to create every time that you're showing up on camera. You have to be that signal for them. You have to be that radio station that they will only tune into, and it will be hard for them to tune out, because you're speaking so direct to them that they feel like you know them so well. I once heard someone say that we're in a trust recession, but you want to know how you can combat that? Be the person that understands them well and greatly help them so much that they would trust you with their life. How can you be that person? Again, understand them clearly. And the person who you can best help is the person who you used to be. I needed to figure out who I used to be in order to help a specific person. I was a guy who spent a lot of days procrastinating, believing in some excuses that I had set for myself, and failing to show up on camera for 827 days. And when I finally did show up, my messaging was all over the place. I wasn't clear on a specific individual, and I was targeting too many people. And I understood that those were aspects in my experience that I had overcome and that I can now help others with. What are some of the experiences that you had in life? What did you go through? What was the problem that you had? How did you feel having those problems? And what exactly did you want to experience? By having a clear understanding of who you are, you can understand the specific person who you can best help. Being able to craft that content that they will binge you so much that they will want to become paying clients of yours. And this is exactly what I'm doing now. At the moment of this recording, I don't have a lot of followers. I have very little. And yet I've been able to attract the right clients because I've been so clear in who I help and how I help them and what I help them get from to where they want to get to. In fact, I have way less followers / subscribers now than I did on my previous channel. And I'm helping people more deeply than I did on my previous channel. Because with this channel, I'm not broad. I'm not vague. My content isn't watered down to the point that it lost its flavor. People know exactly who I help and how I help them. And they're beginning to trust that I can help them with their problem because I understand them so deeply that they feel like I'm in their head thinking their thoughts. So you don't need a whole bunch of people subscribing to you, but it would be nice. I will agree, right? But what you do need is clarity on who you help and how you help them. And once you have that clarity, they're going to trust that you can help them, that they're willing to become clients of yours, even if you have a small following. If you're ready to take control of your life and develop that confidence that you've always been waiting for, then these two videos will help with that.